do some improvements to their existing water system. In 2022, ADOT and the National Park Service is going to pave a portion of the trails that run through Baker Township. And after those trails are paved, it will be more expensive to do upgrades and needed repairs to the system. And so this hit Baker a little bit off guard. They weren't involved in the planning process either by the National Park Service or the Department of Transportation. And so the grant request has been submitted to fund a portion of these necessary upgrades to be done prior to the trail construction that is now going to occur the summer of 2023. Terry Stedman, treasurer of the district, is also here today if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Excuse me, did you get Tabitha's contact?
I've been
Have you
working
been
with
working
Terry
with them?
on it.
Okay, I just want to be sure that they, you guys were
Terry,
talking.
Did you want to explain the project just a little bit?
Sure. Mr. Chair, Honorable Commissioners, my name is Terry Stedman. I am the treasurer for the Baker Water and Sewer General Improvement District. I've been a resident of Baker and a business owner for over 30 years. I've served as a board member for approximately 9 years. As Mr. Ware had indicated, we kind of got caught by surprise on this multi-use trail project going in Baker as well as around Baker. It's referred to as the Sagebrush Discovery Trail. The paved portion wasn't added until I believe it was in 2019, and as Rob indicated, we were not notified, and so we were not requested to do what is typically referred to as a mapping survey of our existing utilities. And as he also indicated, this project is moving forward. It has been funded, approved. It's passed the design, saying the initial construction is supposed to start sometime in 2023. We felt that this might be an opportunity for us to actually apply for community development block grant to help assist basically expand our existing infrastructure, which by the way is already going on 30 years of age, and I think you're all aware that a lot of this plant, that's pretty much the life expectancy is about 30 years. We have done nothing to improve our water and sewer main design within Baker Township. Here about 7 years ago, we did do a water storage tank replacement, which was in the neighborhood of about $700,000. We had some surplus funds from that grant, and we were encouraged to use it on other capital improvements. So the other improvement we made was to upgrade our meters to the current EPA standard. But the actual physical infrastructure, the mains, the laterals, this is what our project addresses, is to basically bring us up to, the current century of design concept, so that we actually have a loop system, so that we can actually close down sections of the water and sewer if need be for repairs or some type of disaster, but also for future economic growth for the community. Like many communities within White Plains County, we have a housing shortage, if you will, and it's not just for residents, it's also for visitors, tourists, and seasonal employees. And the section that's really being tested here is the southwest quarter of Baker Township. There are approximately about 70 undeveloped lots that cannot basically construct a residence or business there because of the lack of water and sewer mains going to that area. And by this paved trail going right over our existing infrastructure as well as our future right-of-way, That puts us in a financial situation where we need some financial assistance as a community that falls below the household median income to do these improvements. So I don't know if the commission has a copy of our application, but I'd be happy to provide that to the commission for your review so that you can actually see all the bullet points of why we think we need this project. So I'd be happy to entertain any questions the commission may have.
You know, Baker is a beautiful area and with the national park is a very vital part of White Pine County and the state of Nevada. And that's what CDBG grants are used for. They're used to upgrade public utilities. And personally, we got McGill with the scientists and that. But Baker is an untapped source, so to speak. And as it grows and not make it too big, but certainly make it a rural type setting. And I couldn't think of anything better than to try to satisfy your needs as far as infrastructure goes and to get it done prior to when they tear the damn thing up and put the road in. So that, you know, don't put the horse before the cart.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you for your comments. And I don't know if any of the other commissioners, but I appreciate your coming here and your attempt or your application to get the CDBG grant. And what you're asking for is exactly what it's intended to be done. So thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you very much for your time, appreciate it.
I wanted to say that I'm
I'm
so
sorry.
thankful and encouraged every time I go out to Baker, the things that you guys are doing to take ownership of your community and make it a nice place to be is so encouraging, and I appreciate you guys.
Well, we'd like to be that polished gem that draws people to White Pine County.
You're well on your way.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing on CDBG grant funding and applications. Is there anybody else out there that's got something to do with the CDBG grant? It's our 10 o'clock public hearing. Is there anybody on the phone that has something to ask? Hearing none and seeing none, Tabitha, why don't you give us a wrap up?
So with the 4 projects presented, they all seem to be applicable for this project. So we will go ahead and enter them for pre-application, which basically determines their eligibility. And then we'll have our second public hearing. And if there's more projects included, those will also be submitted for eligibility.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tabitha.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Okay, we're rolling. So right now, if there's any other public comment on this CDBG grant, speak now. Hearing none, seeing none, we're gonna go ahead to our 10:15 timed item. And we're right on schedule, so 10:15, page 2, item D, is broadband infrastructure program. This is a discussion update, presentation on broadband infrastructure program. Elizabeth Francis, Finance Director, Jojo Myers Campos, Geoverse Director, Broadband Business Development. So Jojo, are you here?
I'm here.
Yeah, right.
Front row.
Come on up.
Thank you. Tabitha, did you want to say anything?
You can go ahead.
You got it. Thank you so much. My name is Jojo Myers Campos, and I stand here before you as the Director of Broadband Business Development for Geoverse. My very first meeting in this room before the County Commissioners was August of 2017. At that time, I was the Broadband Development Manager for the Governor's Office of Science, Innovation, and Technology. The very next meeting was the very next month of September of 2017, where we asked providers to come to White Pine County, to come to Ely, Nevada, to please tell us of their interest of building out infrastructure and building out connectivity, whether it be fiber or hybrid solution or whether it be fixed wireless. We had several show up. I'm very proud to say I work for one of those companies. Back then you would have known them as ComNet. Geoverse actually has been bought, and so I'm very proud to be the director of that I actually still get to work in White Pine and with all of you to see these projects through. To date, we have actually already invested $1.2 million into your county. And so therefore, we want to continue through a grant called the BIP, the Broadband Infrastructure Program. This opened up as of May 19th. This is going to be an extremely competitive grant like most all federal funding, right? So this is a $300 million grant, and they are looking to fund only one project per state, and we want this to be the project that we're going to do. This project stands right now at about 29.7 million. So if we can get that, this is what this is going to mean. This is going to be a fiber build to Baker. That we already have through the E-rate, through the governor's office, that they were already able to build fiber to your school there. So they already have an infrastructure, but it's not to the residents. This also includes the Leaning Caves as well as the observatory. We've already been out there having meetings in Baker to make sure this is actually on par for everything. And then listening to the gentleman right before me, it's all hand in hand with that. And if any of that is buried, we could, even consider on down the line doing a dig one. So it would be a cost share for it. This would actually be a fiber all the way to McGill. This would be a fiber to Lund. And then some of all of the places in between that desperately need. The cool part about my background is it's not just telecommunications, it's also economic development. And if y'all do not have something for you, it is definitely going to be economic development, but we need to get you the connectivity in order to maximize all of those opportunities for you. We need to get the fiber to Baker, and we need to get the fiber to Lund, we need to get the fiber to McGill, we need to get the fiber into Ruth in order to maximize. We want to make sure that we can actually, we're going to be passing the airport. We need to make sure that that airport has updated and good. We're going to be passing that industrial park. A lot of opportunity. Let's bring fiber to that as well. We also included Silver Lion in this to accommodate your future volunteer fire department that will be out there. So we have tried to include so much of this. This is going to be your fairgrounds. This is going to be your golf course. We also included a couple of your subdivisions, which includes Cherry Creek and Cross Timbers. Will those be fiber? I'm not sure yet, but they will sure have a good fixed wireless, which they don't have right now. So we already had yesterday, Tabitha was on the call as well as Elizabeth on the call with our regulatory and governmental affairs Rohan. So we are wanting that they are coaching them in the writing of this grant to maximize every single piece. So therefore we will actually present this plan to the office I used to work for, OSIT, to kind of get their blessing on it, because that's a box we can check. That the broadband office, basically does it just to prove that they are aligning of the broadband projects with this. There is going to be a match. It doesn't have to be a match, but if you want maximum points, and we do because of the competitiveness of this. Elizabeth is going to work on that. We just talked about that just yesterday afternoon. So this is going to be a program that will bring all of it together. I feel very good about this. I haven't heard of too many that's going to be applying. We're trying to keep it at a lower end, a 30 million or below, so they don't look at it and go, oh my gosh, okay, we were going to take you out because this is a $100 million project. But we do know being able to use fixed wireless, being able to use fiber, being able to use other methods, being able to do aerial versus trenched, we will be able to get just all of those done. And so in the next 24 to 36, now this is going to be a quick turnaround. When, I'm not going to say if, when this gets approved, they are hoping to already have this done and start awarding by November 29th of this year. So this is, so this is going to be really, really good. That's going to allow us to continue all of the work we're already doing coming down Main Street. All of that Main Street fiber project is in engineering and is in permitting as we speak. It will tie into the NDOT vault, so it's going to be an intersection there of 50 and 93. We have already signed a master license agreement to be in all of the work that you saw NDOT doing on 93. They have conduit that's going down both sides. We've already signed the master license agreement to put in fiber and that conduit. That is there. We're now working on what's called a specific location agreement. So this is, we're going to keep our fingers crossed, toes crossed, and everything else that this is going, because this will be a game changer, and this is what we need in order to complete everything that we've been working on for the last couple of years. I'm 100% open for questions.
That's very exciting, especially with the November date and people in here that are looking to major projects that are coming to White Pine County in the very near future. And without infrastructure, we're nailed.
Yes, sir.
But, with what you're doing and Elizabeth's help, I look forward to it. It's very exciting, and we're on board with the city and all these other parts of White Pine County. We just heard from Baker, so boy, we're very excited about what you're doing, and keep trucking.
I'm still here. I'm
Yeah.
still moving. I'm still here.
Is there any other commissioner that'd like to make comment on this?
I know that Elizabeth wanted to speak about the match part of things and what can be,
Well, come forward. and-
Perfect.
did you want to?
It's totally up to you.
You
Want me to start and then you, okay. With that, if we're going to maximize the grant, then a 10% match is looked at. We can do below that, but we don't want to leave that box empty, because then that is going to not give us the maximum scoring. So if we are looking, let's just round off, at a 29 million, that's going to be about, what did we say, 2.9? Yeah, $2.9 million match. So I know Elizabeth is already starting to, I call it cranial gymnastics, already doing the cranial gymnastics to try to make all of this work. You know, she's looking at, is there anything from the city? Is there anything from the state? Is there anything from the mines? Is there anything? So that is where we need to all start thinking of how can we start bringing some of this match together to get maximum, because if we do not have some kind of match to where we can check that box, it's going to put us behind the line, and this is too important to put us behind the line. So we just need to all start having some discussions. Is there anything specific that she wanted to, like I said, this just came about yesterday afternoon as far as how to maximize this application?
Well, one of the possibilities to have you guys start thinking about is our beginning fund balance starting this fiscal year is gonna be around $2 million more than what was budgeted. Obviously, we're using part of that in some of the resolutions today and some other things. One of the possibilities is maybe committing a quarter, $500,000 to the project out of that unbudgeted fund balance.
That's cool to figure it out.
Yeah,
That's for
and
sure.
so that was one of
It's
the.
too important not to.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Is part of the rescue plan eligible for this?
That and,
I do believe-
well,
I think so.
I do believe
I
that
believe it
the
probably,
telecommunication upgrades are
yeah.
part of that.
I agree.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
we'll figure this out.
Yeah, like I said, we don't have to hit the 10%, but if you want max points, we do need to hit pretty close to
You
it.
gotta get
Yes, sir, we do. We do. This is way too important. I would hate to think that we got eliminated from another county because we didn't have that box checked.
$500,000, yeah.
Yes.
We want it all.
Sir?
We want it all.
Yes, sir, we did. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank y'all so much.
Thank you very much.
And we're moving right along here. I got one, Mark, you're here? Yes,
Wait a
we got a
minute,
few
we've got
minutes.
item 2.
I think there's a second part.
Yeah, there
is.
Oh, I didn't see
Underneath
it.
that,
All right,
yes.
I'm sorry, Bill.
Yes.
That's why you guys are here, to keep you straight. Item 2 on page 3 is discussion for possible action ratification of a letter of interest to GeoVerse regarding partnering with broadband infrastructure program grant. Elizabeth again, so, you want to just kind of touch on that?
Yes, sir, this is just a very basic, I did make a mistake, totally my fault on the, and the DA caught it. On my template, I did not change the template from New York to Nevada. So, part of that, I mean, just a little bit of a difference in locale. And so that was one of the biggest things. It's a very typical LOI, and with it, there's nothing that would stand out, or nothing that we added. And I don't know, the DA may have something else.
No. I'll go
So, I'll look for a motion to ratify the letter of interest
with correction.
with correction.
Yeah.
That
I'll
was
make
your only
that
concern
motion.
with it, James? No, I have no concern. All right,
Okay.
very good.
Lori makes the motion.
Second.
Shane seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none,
Perfect.
passed
Thank you
unanimous.
so much.
Thank y'all so
Thank you.
much.
Appreciate
Okay,
it.
thanks again. So now we'll go, Mark, I don't know how long yours will take, let's get you out of the way, you back to work. So we're gonna go to page 4, item 2, Mark Holloway, airport manager. And item A is a discussion update on airport information.
Yeah, I'd like to offer a brief update of the airport's activities. We have a couple of upcoming projects, the glider season and the current fire season. The runway 12/30 rehab and crack seal project. I've coordinated the project with the FAA, the county road department, and Armstrong Consultants. The FAA is requiring provisions under the airport improvement program. These requirements will be met by Armstrong Consultants. The actual construction should begin in the late fall and take advantage of the cooling and contracting of the pavement surface. That will help the project to last longer, do a really good job doing it, so they'll take advantage of the weather. The project should take a total of 3 weeks. The glider season is coming to an end. At the high point, we had 18 gliders on the field, and at one point, we had 18 gliders flying at the same time. The total glider count over the period was 22. The tow plane left about 2 weeks ago, and the majority of the gliders left when he left. Several of the diehard glider pilots remain to chase after record flights, and they're using self-launching gliders, so they don't need a tow plane. The fire season has been steady this year. We've had multiple BLM contract aircraft and helicopters repositioning from Utah, Colorado, California, and Oregon, flying to the area, getting fuel. And we've had several aircraft and helicopters operating from the south ramp of the airport that's over by the big white building. Recently, we had hot shots from Ely deploy, and they jumped on the fire just the north edge of our county. And in conclusion, I've got to meet some really good people here, and county employees and local pilots. And I really enjoyed my first 100 days here in Ely. Anybody have any questions, or can I elaborate on anything?
Anyone? Really, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, if you could, I appreciate the updates. I look forward to those. I think that it helps keep the commission in the loop of what's going on out there. And so, I hope to see more of this for sure. And any details so far as anything, just let us know.
Well, I don't like to jump ahead. Like, I'd hate to tell you that I'm working on a grant right now and then have it fall apart. And
But that's
so
fine.
those things I don't, want to tell you until I can come up here and be victorious and say, hey, I got a grant for $25,000 or something like that. So I'll just update as we progress. What would you like, every 3 or 4 months? Is that soon enough for you guys?
Quarterly?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I think every 3 months would
3
be good.
months, yeah,
All right, well, my pleasure.
appreciate it,
Thank you for your efforts, and we appreciate it.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're right on time, page 3, item E is at 10:30, a timed item, it's the White Pine Pump Storage Project. It's an update, discussion only, update on the White Pine Pump Storage Project, Luigi Resta and Matt Shapiro. Welcome, Matt and Luigi.
Mr. Chairman, before we get going, I just want to make my standard disclosure on this. As I've shown in dozens of times over several meetings, my parents' property is in no way connected to this project, nor do I have any financial interest or otherwise, and I'm glad that the gentleman from Duckridge is here to find out the facts and not think I'm the Biden mafia family. So appreciate that he's here.
All righty, thank you, Travis. Is that good enough, James? Pardon? Okay, that, DA says you're good, so thank you. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you. Good morning. Matthew Shapiro, CEO of R Plus Hydro and White Pine Water Power, LLC, and I'm joined by Luigi Resta, R Plus Hydro and R Plus Energies. Brett Burgess, our Director of Permitting, Kamal Gautam, our Director of Engineering, and Stephen, who's helping do some documentation about the project as we move forward. So I haven't been back in a little while. I missed the last update, but I'm glad to be back, and we have some exciting progress to share. We have, as you may recall, we had finished up our last round of engineering summer. And I'll start with this part of it. The concept for the lower reservoir, for geological reasons, we believed that the reservoir would have to be located along the current alignment of the High Line of the railroad. We have now moved into a next phase of engineering with a global firm called Mott MacDonald. We recently did a very intensive look at all the options for the project, and we really want to listen to the concerns about the community and see if we could avoid that alternative. And it turns out that the presently favored alternative involves not having to realign any part of the railroad and actually placing the reservoir downslope just below that area, so to the west, so that major concern of having to realign 5 miles is something it looks like we can avoid now. We have to do some more geotech work to confirm for absolutely sure of that, but we're 99.99% sure that will not have to be done. So we're excited that we can avoid that particular effect. We're also working with HDR, who is continuing on our permitting and licensing work. They've been doing field studies, sage grouse, cultural, all the things we need to put into our exhibits for the FERC license application that we're preparing. GEI is doing our geotech, and then Basin and Pito is still doing the hydrologic work on that. So ongoing activity, I mentioned the field studies. We are still working on the BLM permitting for the borehole investigation. That basically involves three borehole sites. The boreholes are about 2 inches in diameter, and the footprint of those is like 100 feet square each. So the disturbance involved in that is about 0.7 acre, less than 1 acre for that study, and no new roads involved in that. So we're working through that, getting that, because we need that critical information to confirm the underground geology at the upper, the midpoint, and the lower portion of the project site. Hydrologic is, so we're waiting, and very soon we will pick the final location of that lower reservoir. Once that is picked, then the hydrologic investigation of potential well sites for the water sourcing could begin, and the permitting associated with that. One of the benefits that came out of the engineering study as well, in terms of shifting location of that lower reservoir and the upper slightly, is we get an increase of head. An increase of head means a reduction in water need. So, we have a water agreement in place. It looks like the amount of water needed to fill the project would go down by up to 10%. So that's another positive that came out of that study. We have just launched a project website, moving into public outreach, ramping that up so that it's whitepinepumpstorage.com. Just launched yesterday, so we'll be announcing that, and it'll be talked about at our open house tomorrow, which is at the convention center from 2 to 6, where people can come by, look at posters, diagrams about the project, talk with us, and so we can answer any questions that people might have there. And the last thing I'll mention before handing it off to Luigi is we have commissioned an economic impact study for the project to work on quantifying the tax benefits, employment benefits, and all that. It's very exciting, and I'll let him touch base on that. Unless you have any questions for me specifically, that's my update in a nutshell. And this is a handout that we've prepared for tomorrow. All this information is going to be on the website too, but I can give this to you.
How many copies do you have?
6.
I know
Can I
that
take
the
a
clerk
copy?
has to have one.
Okay.
Let me take a copy, I'll make some.
Okay. We have a bunch more. outside.
I appreciate that, Matt, because I'm not gonna be out of town for your meeting, and you know how much I would hate to miss that, so I appreciate your handout.
No problem.
This is what you're handing out tomorrow as well?
Yes.
Thank you, Matthew. Good afternoon, Chairman and Commission. I'm Luigi Resta with R Plus Energies. Appreciate the time once again and allowing us to give an update. I think Matthew just did a great job of describing kind of the development tasks that have taken